Bienvenidos de nuevo a Oportunidades en Grecia, el podcast en el que tratamos de acercar las oportunidades que en el marco de la internacionalización, de la exportación, la inversión y la captación de financiación, el país presenta para la empresa española. Welcome again to Oportunidades en Grecia, the podcast where we try to get business opportunities regarding exports and investments in the country, Greece, closer to Spanish companies. Today, we go back to the VCP, the venture capital, private equity ecosystem. And more specifically, we will talk about financial instruments and initiatives to strengthen the Greek equity and innovation ecosystem, a way definitely to accelerate sustainable growth, which happens to be the very specific role of the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments. And who could be better to tell us about all of it than Haris Lambropoulos. Haris, thank you for joining us today. Welcome. Welcome
Thank
to
you, Jorge.
Oportunidades en Grecia. Haris holds a PhD in economics from the London School of Economics. And he has top executive experience in both the public and the private sector at a national and international scale. He specializes in human resource economics, management and develop, human capital, economic growth, and also very specifically in business development, investment banking, M&A and corporate finance, restructuring, and business management. Haris is the president of the board of the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments. From now, I will refer to it as HDBI. And he's member of the board of directors of the European Investment Bank and the European Investment Fund, as he is also assistant professor at the University of Patras in human resource economics. And I think we can jump directly to the Q&A. I think we have a lot to talk, and Haris will bring us a lot of light upon a lot of issues. I'd like to get started asking you, what is it that Hellenic Development Bank of Investment, the HDBI, does? And if you could tell us a little bit more about where does the Greek venture capital ecosystem stand today in terms of where is the variety of financial instruments it has access to, the policies, the institutional framework, the accumulated experience, human capital, and so on and so forth. Could you give us some numbers?
First of all, thank you, Jorge, for the invitation and the opportunity to introduce HDBI, the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments. HDBI was established back in 2019, and it is the sovereign fund of funds of Greece. Our main activity is to manage state and European Union funds, to procure and invest these resources along with other investors in new venture capital and private equity funds, mainly on a pari passu and money-in approach. It is the continuation of the so-called TANEO, the New Economy Development Fund, which was established back in 2000, which helped kickstart the venture capital market in Greece. Then there was Jeremy funds and Equi fund that followed, and today HDBI is steadily working towards the enlargement of the equity investment ecosystem in Greece, fostering international best market practices and establishing sound strategic partnerships. In other words, HDBI is the Greek state's investment vehicle aimed at fostering growth in strategic sectors by supporting private and venture capital investments. It plays a pivotal and catalytic role in Greece's equity investment ecosystem by providing co-investment funds and facilitating the creation of venture capital and private equity vehicles that support innovation and entrepreneurship. Now, concerning your question, in terms of the Greek venture capital and private equity ecosystem, it has matured significantly over the past few years. A range of financial instruments and smart money are now available, including venture capital, of course, and private equity, and co-investment funds. We are supported by policies to modernize the institutional framework. The accumulated experience in these markets has led to successful exits and flagship investments, such as those in sectors like technology, life sciences, and renewable energy. And of course, Greece's human capital is increasingly being recognized for its high quality, especially in fields like engineering, software development, and scientific research. And so, we can say that at present, all ingredients are aligned and are available at the same time to assure success and scale up of our business model and the innovation ecosystem. Now, about the numbers, coming to the numbers now. Greece has seen the establishment of 29 investment funds during the past 4 years with a catalytic contribution of HDBI. To give a sense of scale, denoting the dynamism of the equity investment ecosystem, the public funds committed in these 29 schemes through HDBI is almost double as compared to the public funds committed in the previous 20 years. That is from 2000 to 2019 by Taneo, Jeremy, and Equin Fund combined. There were invested 370 million versus 735 million today, almost double. While the combined assets under management of these 29 funds exceed 1.7 billion, they have invested already in over 150 companies, with investments targeting a wide range of value-added sectors. The ecosystem is underpinned by policies that encourage investment in startups, grown-ups, and innovative SMEs, and high-tech sectors, creating a pipeline of high-growth companies. In terms of future prospects, given the strong investment interest and pipeline, the outlook, I could say, is great for the enlargement of the Greek equity ecosystem. For example, by the end of the year 2024, we expect that our portfolio will grow further from 29 funds and stand about 35 funds, managing about 2.2 billion.
Oh, those are some astonishing numbers. Really interesting to see how it has evolved, huh? From Taneo, from the early stages, 2000
Exactly.
till 2024. Let me ask you another question. I think it's very, very interesting for potential Spanish investors. Similarly to Spain, there are different players in the ecosystem, and it is sometimes not completely easy to understand the role that each one plays in the sector. Could you elaborate a bit on the capacities of the main actors? Elevate Greece, the European Commission, the European Investment Fund, the EBRD, the Growth Fund, the RRF, and of course HDBI. How do you all interact?
Yeah, you are very right, because a lot of people, they hear a lot of organizations and may have a confusing or a mixed picture of what each one does. So let me elaborate on their role in the Greek VC ecosystem. First of all, you mentioned Elevate Greece. It is a platform initiated by the Greek government to support startups, and in effect, one could say that it is the Greek startup registry. It offers visibility, networking, and access to funding, while also providing certification that helps companies gain access to national and European funding opportunities. About the European Commission. European Commission undoubtedly plays a strategic role in providing policy support and funding for innovation and entrepreneurship in Greece, and not only, primarily through programs like Horizon Europe and the European Structural and Investment Funds. Now, European Investment Fund, the EIF, is a key financial partner for the Greek VC ecosystem. The EIF provides funding to venture capital funds and accelerates the growth of innovative businesses in Greece by supporting co-investments. Has successfully managed 200 million European structural funds for Greece back in 2017 through a landmark initiative called Equi Fund, which with the establishment of 9 funds at the time. Today, there is a similar mandate by the Greek state to EIF for Equi Fund 2 for the establishment of thematic funds in life sciences and impact. Concerning the Growth Fund, the Hellenic Company of Assets and Participation, it is the Greek sovereign wealth fund holding and managing the state's assets. It plays a significant role in funding strategic infrastructure and innovation projects. It provides the financial backbone for long-term investments in various sectors. Coming to the Recovery and Resilience Facility, the well-known RRF, RRF plays a pivotal role in Greece's post-pandemic recovery with significant allocation of over 30 billion euro directed towards green transition, digital transformation, and fostering innovation ecosystems by boosting human capital quality. HDBI is the equity platform instrument of RRF National Plan Greece 2.0, managing 500 million euros from the loans part of RRF to be deployed in venture capital and private equity funds through two distinct open calls, namely Innovate Now and Q Equity. Now, how do all these players interact together? All these players interact through a well-coordinated system of public-private partnerships, sharing information, pooling resources, and co-investing in projects to maximize the impact on the Greek economy. We all talk to each other. We participate in a lot of venues and on various occasions. So we all exchange ideas and share information and try to do the best. Moreover, apart from these players, I would say that there are also others promoting innovation and entrepreneurship in Greece, like Endeavor Greece, for example, Eurobank EGG, the incubator and accelerator of Eurobank, NBG Business Seeds, similarly for National Bank of Greece, the incubation and acceleration activities, the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Hellenic Federation of Enterprises, and so on, with all of which HDBI collaborates closely. I thank you very much. It was a complex ecosystem, and it's great that you helped us navigate a little bit so that people know where to go find assistance when they're willing to get into the VC environment with investments or funding or whatever it is that they are willing to do. I would like to ask you a little bit more about the HDBI work. How do the innovative open calls work? And I would also like to ask about the sectors where the existing vehicles, here I think you talked about 29 so far. I think I heard here 34 in the next... Almost 35, yes, by the end of the year. In the short run. Are those vehicles more prone to invest in some sector, life sciences, artificial intelligence, new materials? And going more into the detail, I suppose it's different between the funds, but what would be a standard ticket in those vehicles? So let me say that currently HDBI has 2.1 billion euro public funds under management through mandates by the Greek state from the public investment budget and the Resilience and Recovery Facility resources to be deployed, as I mentioned, mainly in newly to be established funds. It works primarily through innovative open calls, as you said, to financial intermediaries. That is, the call refers to fund managers, inviting private investors to co-invest in funds that focus on strategic sectors. Currently, we have 8 active open calls. Somebody can visit hdbi.gr and look at these calls. These open calls stimulate the creation of investment vehicles, targeting areas, as you mentioned, such as artificial intelligence, new materials, life sciences, B2B software, among others, green transition, etc. So there is a balanced approach between demand by identifying high potential sectors and supply, ensuring that there is enough capital to fund innovative ventures. And this approach was selected by us because we don't want to distort the market, but rather to listen carefully to the needs of the market and facilitate to the extent possible the market needs. These investment vehicles established with HDBI support, I have to say that they have to respect ESG and do no significant harm principles and tend to focus on sectors with high growth potential and societal impact, including, among others, artificial intelligence and machine learning, B2B software and fintech, new materials and nanotechnology, clean energy and environmental tech, agri-food, agri-tech, life sciences and biotech, and generally innovation and technology across all sectors, no matter if a company, if a fund strategy is startups or grown-ups. Coming now to the standard ticket size in these vehicles, it is understandable that it varies depending on the sector, the fund size and the strategy, but typically ranges from 1 million to 5 million. I remind here that our approach is that our fund managers invest with money in approach, that is by infusing capital to the share capital of the company. And of course, we have other funds in our portfolio with different investment strategy, investing, for example, in early stage startups, where the initial pre-seed ticket, investment ticket, is about to 300,000, as well growth funds with the investment ticket that could be much bigger compared to the typical. Moreover, there is also considerable pan-European activity as HDBI collaborates with European national public institutions, funds, European funds and European investors, allowing Greek companies to access not just local but also international markets.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you about that because I find that also interesting. Sometimes the Spanish VC wants to join forces with the local VC and in order to tackle a more regional market, let's say the whole area, Western, Eastern Balkans, Middle East, and so on and so forth. And it makes a lot of sense, and it's good to know, I think, for the companies that this could go on to a market that goes even beyond the borders of Greece. I think I have an intuition, but I want to ask you also, how does HDBI accelerate sustainable growth in Greece?
Okay, HDBI accelerates sustainable growth in Greece by funding projects and businesses that are aligned with the country's long-term economic and environmental goals through the funds that HDBI invests in. Because of the thematic focus or the investment strategy of the funds, could be also sector agnostic, but most of our fund management teams, they have an investment focus and a sectoral focus. We accelerate sustainable growth through our funds. Our investment strategy prioritizes sectors that contribute to Greece's green transition and digital transformation, supporting the development of clean energy technology, sustainable infrastructure, circular economy initiatives, among others, while the Greek talent and entrepreneurship of all stages is always at the epicenter of the investment strategy. Therefore, by backing VC funds that invest in these areas, HDBI ensures that innovative Greek companies are well equipped to drive the country's sustainability agenda forward.
So innovation, renewals,
innovation and talent.
And talent. Those are a couple of words that resonate a lot. What about? So we've seen what the company does. How does it cooperate with other players in the sector of activity within the country? and how it does work. But what about international cooperation? You mentioned it slightly when you talked about pan-European, potential pan-European investments. What about international cooperation at the European level? I think there is something already going on with VPI France, KfW, or beyond the European level. I think you're working already with some players outside the European area, Mubadala and some others. Mm-hmm. What's the situation?
Okay. HDBI focuses, of course, on the Greek investment ecosystem and to the strengthening and scaling up of Greek companies or companies that they have an establishment in Greece. But, in order to achieve the most, we have focused on international cooperation efforts, both at the European and the international level, as you said. On the European level, from the institutional, let's say, point of view, HDBI is a founding member of the European Venture Fund Investors Network, so-called EVFIN. It collaborates with other national public institutions and development banks, European investment banks like PPI France, KfW Capital from Germany, TESI from Finland, EIFO from Denmark, and CDP from Italy, through the so-called Scale Up Europe initiative, formed as a typical association of European NPIs to accelerate European tech, so to preserve the European sovereignty of companies with great scale potential in the tech sector. But also we communicate and collaborate with all our European counterparts to share best practices, to co-invest and promote cross-border innovation. Moreover, there is a standard, let's say, collaboration with the European Investment Fund, who is a very important element of the European equity investment policy, is a key institution in promoting investments across Europe. And from our side, we are considering also to participate in the so-called European Tech Champions Initiative, ETCI, of EIF, targeting also to the scaling up of European tech companies. Beyond Europe now, we are engaged with international players like, as you said, Mubadala and ADQ, two very important sovereign wealth funds and investment vehicles from Abu Dhabi, with which we have, with Mubadala, we have solid co-investment agreement. And with ADQ, we have an investment agreement to facilitate and to support efforts from Abu Dhabi of investments in Greece. We are doing great. Our teams have gained trust, and the investment activity has already started, and it's very promising. Also, we are in discussions with the Public Investment Fund and some other vehicles of the Public Investment Fund from Saudi Arabia, where we are seeking opportunities for co-investments in sectors such as energy, technology, and infrastructure, where Greek companies can contribute to global projects or benefit from foreign investments.
This is quite an agenda.
Indeed.
It's quite an agenda, quite an ambitious
agenda.
We
are always busy.
A lot of things. You're doing a lot of things and planning to do a lot of things as well. Very, very, very promising, beyond what it is already that you are doing. I wanted also to know whether you find we could do cooperation between both VCP ecosystems from Greece and Spain and Greece. There is a big VC ecosystem in Spain, and of course, further cooperation between both countries is can only be positive back and forth on, or even as we said when we talk about pan-European or going beyond the borders, investing in third places. What's your take? How could we cooperate more? Well, I know that there are some events where we could eventually bring people from the VC ecosystem, PE ecosystem, where you could bring people from the VC Greek ecosystem, PE ecosystem, such as Beyond in Thessaloniki or 100 Startup, South Summit, and so on. Some of these events take place in Spain, in Greece, or in third countries. Any other thing we could do to go beyond with cooperation within the system, VC? These sort of activities are fantastic so that people know where to find funding for these sort of companies, but directly the ecosystems for the cooperation, how could we work on that?
Yeah, you are very right, Jorge. Spain and Greece have robust equity ecosystems, and definitely there is significant potential for deeper cooperation between the two countries. Strengthening ties between Spanish and Greek venture capitalists and entrepreneurs and innovation ecosystems can be facilitated through joint initiatives, as you said, by participating in events like Beyond, European Venture Alliance Network, and events like 100 Startups and South Summit, and so on and so forth. Networking is a very crucial part of the investment business, because you have the opportunity to meet a lot of people that they share the same, let's say, goals with you, and exchange ideas, potentially create collaboration and partnerships. We know that some of our fund managers, they have close collaboration with Spanish fund managers, and they do collaborate in some investment cases. Of course, from our side, we organize very specific, focused events for our fund managers to meet each other, come together, and listen to the new, let's say, developments on a European international level. For example, on the 22nd and 23rd of October, we organize Tech Tour Southeast, which is a very good event. It is the third year that HDBI supports and hosts Tech Tour in Athens, Tech Tour Southeast in Athens. We had an excellent experience on that. Of course, our Spanish counterparts are welcome to join. I can share with you some details on that, and you can disseminate that. And indeed, as you said, these platforms can serve as springboards, let's say, for cross-border collaborations, joint ventures, and investments in other markets. Now, to accelerate the process, initiatives that bring together stakeholders from both countries in structured dialogues, co-investment schemes, and bilateral partnerships can be developed. This can be done easily. There are plenty of ideas, plenty of know-how and experiences, and I'm sure that our Spanish counterparts have great experience, maybe in some areas much greater than we have in Greece. We are very open to collaborate with our Spanish friends. And additionally, joint participation in European international funding programs can help both countries leverage their strengths to create larger scale-up projects. So, in effect, we are very keen in exploring opportunities for collaboration with our Spanish counterparts. And from our side, we have done so given the opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. Well, a ton of ideas in the conversation. We talked about how has the VCP ecosystem evolved up to the date since its initial steps back in the year 2000 with Taneo, and the evolution, as we mentioned a couple of times in the conversation, 29 funds now, 34, 35 to be very soon. I think you said HDBI managing 2.1 billion euros
yeah.
at this very moment. You explain us the always complex ecosystem and the players, the roles that they play, and how you all cooperate and are well connected through a PPP approach, public-private partnership approach.
Absolutely.
You talk to us about the way HDBI works, innovative open calls, different intermediaries that work, fund managers, the tickets that could standardly might go from 1 to 5 million, but you have also alternatives where tickets are smaller depending on the sort of activity and the sort of company the investment takes place in. And of course, you mentioned innovation and talent, two pillars of, I think I go home with those two, of sustainable growth in Greece. You also mentioned your international cooperation, which I think we could be part of in a bilateral or multilateral approach. We mentioned in our meeting Spanish companies from the VC ecosystem and the institutions that do make part of that ecosystem. You mentioned partnerships, bilateral, multilateral, and you mentioned the tech tour. I can get more detail afterwards, and of course,
sure.
Channel it to the right people back in the Spanish VC ecosystem. Thanks a lot, Haris, for joining.
Thank you very much, Jorge, and thank you especially for the opportunity to introduce HDBI to the Spanish audience, and to just to say that our Spanish friends are most than welcome to visit Greece. Look at the opportunities, and we are here to support and meet with them and answer any questions that they may have.
Excellent. Thank you once again. Nosotros nos vemos de nuevo en Oportunidades en Grecia. Aún hay mucho de lo que hablar, más sobre energía, en particular renovables, turismo. Hasta pronto.